to get her master's degree. And she got an assignment from one of her professors, and it was she had to show steps on how to find a relative. And I have this neat story about my great-grandmother, and so she kind of wrote about that, and she was so excited.
Cool.
That's awesome. I'm glad you could help her with that. That's fantastic.
Me too.
So did she have access to FamilySearch by any chance?
Well, where did you go?
Oh, I see you.
We can see you.
I don't see you anymore.
It might have just minimized or something. Hover over the, and see if you just minimize the screen because you still have the program running because we can see you.
Yeah, we can definitely see you.
Okay, I'm back.
All
Good.
right.
Well, that's a neat story.
That is.
Well, yeah, it has a neat story.
All right. Well, we are glad that Linda and Melissa were able to join us. We are going to go ahead and get moving here because we have lots we want to do today.
Did you want to pick on somebody to do a closing prayer too at the end, or do you want to just wait?
We'll wait.
Okay.
Okay, I am going to share my screen. So give me just a second here.
You need to do the other one, unless you want to keep it here.
I want this one.
Oh.
Okay. So this is, I'll go back to here, just in case any of you don't remember how to find this. So this is your main FamilySearch page. And you go up to this little life preserver thing and click on help others. Then just go down here to the try planner. And once you get there, there's a lot of helper resources. Then we're going to click on Temple and Family History Calling. And then consultant. And then what should I focus on? And it talks here about, as a Temple and Family History consultant, you help individuals and families come into Christ as they prepare and participate in Temple and Family History work. And then down here, it talks about, with Temple and Family History work, we are doing lead in the Savior's way, just like in any other calling that we have. And it talks about the following principles will help us as we fulfill our calling. And I just want to focus on this first one today, which is pray to be led by the Holy Ghost. Okay. And as we help others, Temple and Family History consultants have the primary responsibility of supporting the Ward Temple and Family History plan. Everything we do needs to support the plan. And creating inspiring experiences that bring joy to all people as they discover, gather, connect their families through temple ordinances. You magnify your calling and help others as you do that. And then we're going to just see this really short video, but it's really a good video.
Neat story here.
Family history has always come naturally for me. I read my first census in the National Archives when I was 11 years old. Continued to have a passion for it for the next 60 years. And I've locked down a system that works very well. About 6 months ago, I was having a conversation with a fellow genealogist whose work I highly respect. She was sharing an experience she had with one of her ward members, and I had never seen her this excited. There was nothing profound or different about what she had discovered, but she had changed her approach. She described the process as following her heart instead of her head, which allowed the Spirit to closely guide her, and she kept encouraging me to do the same. I didn't give it too much thought for quite a while. When I work with people, they really appreciate my knowledge and ability, and I couldn't see a need to change something that I'd been so successful with for so many years. However, after several months, I noticed that some of my other colleagues were also having the same renewed excitement about the experiences they were having as they allowed the Holy Ghost to guide them. And I started to feel like I was missing out on something. It wasn't until my high priest group leader connected me with a less active man in my ward who needed help finding a specific couple on his family tree that my perspective changed. As I was scheduling an appointment with him, I had a very strong prompting that I needed to let the Spirit be the guide from start to finish with this man. His mother had been searching for the names of her grandparents for years, and his goal was to find them for her. As I started preparing an experience for him, it was really difficult to stay focused on such a narrow goal. So I started to pull in leaves that would very quickly fill up the holes in the rest of his family tree. While I was doing this, I realized I'd forgotten to say a prayer before I started. So I stopped what I was doing and prayed. As soon as I finished, I had the clear impression to search only for those two names until I found them. And in spite of how frustrating this was for me, I stuck with it and stayed committed to his goal. When I arrived at his home, he introduced me to his wife, who had decided to join us. I normally wouldn't have started with an opening prayer, and I was determined to follow through on my prompting. As I guided him through the experience I had prepared, with each step, he grew more and more excited. After only a few minutes, he made it to the historical records and found the death certificate of his great-grandfather. I had discovered this document during my preparation and was really excited for him to see it. On that document and the names he had been looking for. And after he and his wife read them out loud, none of us could utter a word. The Spirit filled the room and we all felt it. Together, we shared a moment of pure joy. After a minute or so, the brother began to express appreciation for helping him find these ancestors. He did not think he had the ability to do this kind of work, and he definitely wasn't expecting to feel so much happiness in the process. I understood what my colleagues were talking about. This work is so much bigger than me. At the end of the meeting, I decided we should have a closing prayer and offer thanks. He turned to his wife, who said, "Dear, I think it would be well if you do it." He then offered a very tender prayer of gratitude. I felt God's love for this couple, and we now share a very special bond. I invited them to meet with me again, and they eagerly accepted. I believe that all of the skills I have gained over the years are certainly critical and valuable, but I have understood that choosing to be led by the Spirit deepens my contribution to Heavenly Father's work.
That's a good one.
Right. So I just want to let you know that I know that having the Spirit with us when we go to help people out with their family history is key and important, to have that opening prayer and that closing prayer so that we can be led to the people who are waiting to have their work done and what that family wants to do. And even asking that family, who do you feel prompted? Which line do you feel like that we need to work on? And every time that I do that, they'll think for a minute and then they tell me, I thought I wanted to do this, but I really want to do this. And one sister that I met with, we had a discovery experience together and kind of got her started and doing all that. And I asked her what she wanted to do. And she goes, right now, a lot of my work is done. My sister's doing that and doing this. And as we talked a little bit more, I felt prompted to tell her that, family history work isn't just finding names. It's also recording those memories and the pictures and getting all of that gathered together. And once I started talking about that, she started to cry and she says, I know what I'm supposed to do. She had an aunt who had never married and had no children. And she said, someone needs to record her history. And she says, I feel like that's what I'm supposed to be doing, is recording her history and getting her information into FamilySearch. And it was a beautiful experience because then she felt like she knew what she was supposed to do and how she was helping in this broader FamilySearch picture. And I know that as we invite the Spirit in to be with us, that we'll be able to help those people to feel those connections with their family members, because that's what it's all about, is connection. And I say this in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
I'm going to turn time over to Jack now, and he's going to talk some more about some things we can do for searching, and we'll go from there.
Okay, time to switch. Patty's still going to be on the webinar. We have a second computer set up. It's just that my little office space here is so tight and small that we have to do this in two separate rooms. You can see where she's coming. You were out where Eli is right now. Anyway, I want to echo what Sister Later just said. It really is very important to start out with the word of prayer and end with the word of prayer, inviting the Spirit. And I know that sometimes I get so excited about helping somebody that I forget to say the prayer. And when I remember to do the prayer at the beginning and end, it goes so much better. And you know how it is. It's easy to get stuck on a rabbit hole somewhere else and maybe get distracted on your family history. But that's another thing that the Spirit helps us with, is to stay focused. So anyway, I've got a plan and an agenda today, and I really believe that it's going to help you out a lot. So last time that we met, we learned a little bit about how to search in FamilySearch and how to use Ancestry.com and how to make attachments to in sources in FamilySearch. So all of that stuff is important. Now, what I want to focus on today, though, is how to use the catalog in FamilySearch and FamilySearch Wiki. There's a couple of reasons for that. If we get stuck on something and we're not sure exactly how to solve a problem, the FamilySearch Wiki is really our best friend for situations like that. Also, there's a lot of records in FamilySearch that have not been indexed yet. So the reality is the records that are at the library, especially at the vault, are in the process of being digitized all the time. And the reality is that those records are getting digitized faster than we could index them. But they're still important records that we need to access that we can't search for. And that's where the catalog comes in. So those of you, as I go through this, if there's something that if you have a question, or if there's something that comes to your mind that maybe could help the rest of us out, then feel free to unmute yourself and give us an idea or two, okay? So this is what I'm going to do right now, is I'm going to go ahead and can share my screen. Give me a second to do this. Okay.
Whoa.
Okay. Okay. I need to get some notes here for me. I always have an agenda to follow because next month I might forget exactly what we talked about. Okay, so remember last week we talked about how we could go to a family tree, we could look up a person, and then like if I want to find out something about one of these ancestors here, I could click on it and then I could go to the right-hand side and I could click on Family Search or Ancestry and I could find a lot of documents there. Now, the trick is, like I mentioned before, if a document is not indexed, it's not going to show up in Family Search or Ancestry, but it might be crucial for us in making a connection. So in order to find an elusive ancestor sometimes, or to break through a brick wall, it might require some of the techniques I'm going to show you today, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a couple of examples of my own on how to use the catalog, okay? Just a second, I need to shut my door here because I'm getting a feedback from the other computer. Hold on. Okay, so let me just show you this as an example. One of the persons that I've been doing a little bit of research on is a great grandfather of mine, and you can apply this to your own ancestors, the techniques, but the person that we're talking about is right up here. If I could get to it, one more generation here. This person here by the name of John Lee Jones. Patty knows all about him because we've talked about him a lot. But so the other day, I wanted to try to find a record for him, and I wasn't sure where to find it. We actually ended up we went to Southern Utah last week. That's why we didn't have our webinar on last Wednesday, because we went to Cedar City and Iron County, Utah. And I had the chance of looking in their courthouse in Parowan, Utah, which is the county seat for Iron. And I actually found some deed records for this person here. Well, previous to this, I didn't have a chance to really look at Family Search much. And the funny thing is it ended up on Family Search anyway. But so let's suppose that we're trying to find a record that doesn't show up in a Family search or an ancestry because it's not indexed. And so the example that I'm going to show you right now is a land record, okay? And just kind of bear with me for a second. Let's suppose that we need to find a land record for this person here. Now, how can a land record be helpful? Do any of you guys have an idea? I mean, there's other records that are more helpful. I realize that, but can any of you think of an advantage of maybe finding some kind of a land record like a deed or a homestead or something like that? Any of you have an idea of how a land record might possibly help us? You'll need to unmute yourself if you have an idea there. Now think about Southern Utah, where he lived. It was a real small town. So would there be an advantage of knowing how to access a deed? How can a deed record help us? Or how can a land record help us?
For one thing, it would let you know when he was there, maybe how long he was there. Perhaps it can mention somewhere that he bought property from. That could possibly be a relative or something like that.
Excellent.
But time frame is important.
Yeah.
And names are important. And
So it could give us clues on on who might live in the area, when he was there. And it's possible that maybe he purchased property from another family member, right?
Yes.
So, and also it's really possible that, especially in rural towns where he lived in Parowan. If any of you guys have driven past Parowan on the way to Cedar City, it's a real small town. Now, wouldn't it be possible that he might be living near other relatives?
Highly possible, because my daughter lived in Milford down there. And then there's a whole bunch of little towns, about 3 of them. They seem to begin with the letter P.
So,
They're all around down there.
So this land record could possibly give us clues about family members or where he lived, when he lived there. And as a genealogist, we're just collecting clues. We're on a mission to find clues. So this is what I'm going to do. Okay, I know from a history that I have on my shelf, I know that he purchased property, or he had a homestead, or at least he said he did, around 1876. So I need to look for a homestead record in the town of Enoch, Utah. It's Iron County. You see, he died in Enoch, Iron County. So I need to find a deed in Iron County, Utah. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. And this is not indexing. It won't show up in an index. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click search. Now watch what I do here on my screen. Go to search, go to catalog. Okay. Now I want you guys to be familiar with catalog because you'll need it a lot. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and do a place search. I mean, we could have maybe used one of the others like a keyword, but when I'm looking for a record that's probably in a county courthouse somewhere, or originated from a county courthouse, I need to look under the county that he came from. So the way that this is organized is you type in from biggest to smallest. So United States. So I click on United States and then comma, Utah, and then the county is Iron. Okay. Now I click on Iron County right here. Now watch this. This is really common for almost every county in the world. Okay. Now watch how this is organized. This is really cool. Okay. You see how we have different types of records showing up. So what I'm seeing here is just about the same thing that you see in almost every county, especially the United States, but it can also be applied to England. So we're looking for a land record, right? Let's scroll down here a little bit and we're going to click on land and property. Okay. This is just an example. Okay. Now, our family record said that, or at least this book that I have said that he purchased this property in Enoch around 1876. So it looks like I need a deed record, or right here, this is deed records, right? I need a deed record from 1876. So let's see if this will help us, because this is 1851 to 1988, right? So I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to look at the dates and see, maybe you can help me find it. I'm looking for something that helps me within 1876. It looks like this in here, does it, right? 1876 to 1880. Now, guys, I want you to notice something. If you look at all of these cameras, that's an icon to tell you that the document has been digitized. Okay. If it had an hourglass icon beside it, it means that it's searchable, but there's no hourglass beside it, so it's not searchable. It's only been digitized. If it had an icon of like a microfilm reel, it means that it's only on microfilm. But fortunately, FamilySearch they've digitized it, but they haven't gotten around to indexing it yet. Okay. So hopefully somebody in our ward or stake or somebody in the world will index it for us. But for right now, it's not indexed, so you can't even search it. But that's where the catalog comes in. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. Now, one thing to keep in mind, you have to think as if you're in the family history library. And what this is, this is a roll of microfilm itself. Now, with a lot of these microfilms, not always, but in a lot of them, they do have an index, an old index that went with that particular book. And it's interesting because if you look at this book here for the first picture, I actually saw this book at the Iron County Courthouse last week. That's one reason why I'm doing this, because I know it wasn't indexed. But at the beginning of this book is an index. So I'm just going to click on the arrow up here on the left, and I'm just going to go from picture to picture. And you see this here? This is an index. It's not searchable by FamilySearch, but it has its own index, right? So what I need to do is this guy's last name, this ancestor, is Jones. So I need to go to a J here somewhere. So I'm just going to kind of skip ahead. What I could do is I could click on this big multiple thing here and just kind of look down here and see if I can find Jones. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See if we can find it here real quick. I probably need to go back. These are alphabetized here, so it looks like we're in the O's. So let's go back here a little bit. That didn't do it. That's M. Wonder if we'll get it here. Oh, I got to go back a little bit more. Those are L's. A little bit more. These are alphabetized, like I said. I may have found it. There's John Pitting Jones. This is interesting because this person is actually John Lee Jones's father, lived in the same county. So here we have John Lee Jones. So it's telling us in this index that his deed, it looks like it's a land patent. That's the same thing as a homestead from the government. So it's on page 226. So what I need to do is I'm going to go up to this image box up here. Now it may be exactly 226 or it may be a little bit off, depending on how they filmed it. So I'm going to type in 226 and see if I could find it. See, what page is this? I better go back a little bit. So you see the pages are off. You see the page 234. It's off because the first few pages that were photographed were blank pages or the index or whatever. So I got to go back a little bit to page 226. So it's going to be like what, 205 or something, or 210, something like that. Click on the arrow or just hit the enter sign. Sorry, hit the enter sign. I went a little bit too far. I could go to 215, I guess. See if I can get to 226. Getting close, right? 1, 2, we're almost there. Tell me if you see it. There it is. That's page 226. Now let's see if it shows that name of John Lee Jones in here anywhere. I'm just kind of glancing through this real quickly. Oh, there it is. Look at that. John Lee Jones. Okay. And looking for a date in here, but it might be on the next page. But at any rate, I'm pretty sure it was 1876. And what this is this is a deed. It's a homestead, actually. I guess there's a difference, right? This is a homestead. See where it says homestead? And if you read down here a little bit, what's interesting is that it gives you a legal description of the land. Well, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on how to find the legal description, but there's ways of doing it online. I'm going to show you where this property is here in a minute. But the other thing that I would be looking for is names of possible other Joneses, family members, anyone else who may have been a part of this homestead. I'm not seeing it here, but the date was 1876. So what we have here is we have his name. We have a date up here somewhere. I can't find it, but I'm pretty sure it's 1876. And so we know where he lived. Now, just out of curiosity, I want to just show you something, and this is going to take me about a minute to find, but what I noticed is that this record is a homestead, which happens to be also listed with the BLM website. And I'm going to go there right now. I'm just going to show you something interesting that you could do. And I'll just do this really quickly. I'm not saying it's a requirement for everything, but I'm going to go to the BLM site. And this is it right here. It's called the GLO Records, Bureau of Land Management. And I'm going to find John Lee Jones's property. I'm going to click on land patents right here because we know that that was a land patent. It said it in that previous document. And I'm going to search it by Utah right here. And then I'm going to put his last name in here, Jones, then John. And I'm going to see if that same exact document shows up on their site. And there's a reason why I'm going to do this, because it's going to show me exactly where his property is. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and search this. Let's see, we want Iron County in here. I almost forgot to put that in there. Iron. Now watch this. Search patents. Let's see if it shows up. Okay, it's thinking. There it is. John Lee Jones. He had two of them together. I'm going to click on this. Again, this is the BLM, Bureau of Land Management site. Now look at this. We have a map here. If you click on this image here, it's the same image that you guys saw earlier. But what I think is interesting is you can pinpoint where that property is. I'm going to click on this map here. I just have to select these two boxes. And here we are in Iron County, Utah, and a map of exactly where it is. And we were there last week. And in fact, a couple of years ago, both of my boys went there with me, and we saw something really interesting. Now, let me show you what we saw. I'm going to look up this address right here on Google, and let me show you what we could do. Okay, this is really cool. If it'll let me. So we'll go Google, and I'm going to do this under maps eventually. But if you look at the address, what's interesting is I'm just going to pick an intersection right here, and we're going to see this from the sky. You're going to see something kind of interesting. Okay, so we need Enoch Road in the corner of Ravine Road in Enoch, Utah. So watch this. Ravine Road, Enoch Road, Enoch, Utah. Let's see what happens here. Hopefully this works. Yeah, there it is. I'm going to click on maps in Google. And this is kind of interesting. Here's the map. But if I click on the satellite image in the bottom left, we get a bird's eye view. Now check this out. I'm going to zero in on this. All of this is his property in Enoch, Utah. Now, Enoch was famous, or Iron County was famous for its iron industry. That's where what Brigham Young set up in Iron County, Utah. And his property included all of this. Now, if I click on this iron works thing, John Lee Jones was an iron worker, and his father was too. So we're going to click on this and look at the pictures over here on the left. If I could get this right, there we go. This is what's on his property right now. He was an iron worker. This old smokestack is more than 140 years old, and it's still there. This was John Lee Jones and John Pitting Jones, like I said, were iron workers, and their responsibility was to learn how to smelter iron and to separate the iron from the ore. And this old smokestack solved the problem right here, or it was part of it. Then what they did on the same property is they erected a monument to John Lee Jones and John Pitting Jones. So you never know what you'll find. This is part of your family history, or mine. And I found it because of a land record. And it all started out with FamilySearch right in here, right? Okay, so that's kind of interesting. Now I'm going to go ahead and attach this record like we did last week. Now, the challenge is that because this is not indexed, we have to attach this just a little bit different. So I'm going to go to attach to family tree right here at the top right. And I'm going to go ahead and put a title in here. And I'm just going to kind of make this up. John Lee Jones in Iron County, Utah deeds. Okay. And then on notes, I'll put shows homestead, location, and date. So it's just one more piece of the puzzle about his life. Now, if I go to the bottom, I could add it to my source box, which is convenient, but I'm going to go to the bottom and click on select person. Now watch this. Actually, what I'm going to do here, I don't know if it's going to give me this URL or not. It might. Let me just check. I'm going to copy and paste it just in case. But I'm going to go to select person and click on person here again. There's John Lee Jones right there. He just happens to show up there. And that's it. He has a lot of children there, so we'll just leave it under John Lee Jones. And the interesting thing is that he did have a lot of family that lived real nearby. Reason why you believe this source is a match. I'm just going to say names, dates, and locations match other records.
I'm
Okay.
still stuck on the United States of America.
What?
I'm still stuck on that.
You're stuck on the United States of America. You're seeing the
Yeah.
image here, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Well, it's that picture is just going to stay there until I attach it. It's going to stay there until I attach it to John Lee Jones.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, click on attach here, and it should attach it to his name. Now let's just go double check it in case, and I'm pretty sure it worked out. So let me see here. Go to tree and see if it shows up. Hopefully, I think I did it right. We'll just double check. It's this guy's father. Right here. Okay, I'm going to go to sources here, and it should show in sources, right? And there it is, John Lee Jones in Iron County, Utah deeds. I'm going to put a date in here though, guys. Let's go 1876, just so it's easy to search later on. And look, it gave us the URL, so I didn't have to copy and paste it in there. I'm going to click save. Let's see if it takes us right there. View source. Click on view source. Did it show up again? Hot dog, it did. Good.
You did.
Yeah, it did. It's the same one, right?
Yes.
So guys, it's really important when you help people with their family history that you show them how to attach records, and that every event like a birth, marriage, date, death, or anything like land or property or a location, it should be associated with some kind of a document. And that's why I'm doing this here. Now, so what's interesting is that if you look through here, I actually have a picture of that monument that I found on Google. But it's all because of that I searched in the catalog, right? We searched in the catalog. We went search and then catalog, and we looked under Iron County and then land records and deeds, and I found it. Now you have to know a little bit of information, obviously, from other sources. Like I had a family history book that just happened to tell me that he purchased property around that year, but it didn't tell me where it was. But I was able to find it on FamilySearch. Okay. Okay. I want to show you another thing here that's kind of interesting. Don't overlook the fact that you could possibly go to Google and just find something. It's amazing what you'll find in Google. Let's just look up something here. I'm going to type in that same person's name. John Lee Jones, same guy, right?
Yeah.
And let's just make it a little bit easier and go Enoch, Utah, and see if anything shows up.
Obituary.
Yeah, we have an obituary there. Look at this, Jones Iron Works Park. That was that park I was telling you about. Let's, there's all kinds of stuff here. Let's look under images. I just clicked on images. See the foundry here that I told you about? It's right there. And this is him. And I have a picture for him now. Isn't that cool? So if you didn't have a picture, you could put that in FamilySearch, right? So it's amazing what you can find just from a Google search. Okay. Now, so that is probably the main way to use the catalog. So remember how we got there. I'm just going to quickly review how I got there. I clicked on search, right?
Yeah.
I go down to catalog, right? And where it says place, I just put in United States, right? United States, and then comma, Utah, iron. And that got me there, right? So that's how you would do all of these searches. You could probably just put Utah iron and it would probably still get you there. And then here's the land record somewhere down here, right? And then it was one of these links. So I just wanted to review how I got there. Okay, now I want to show you another thing in this search category here, okay? Sometimes the information that you need might actually be in a book, but maybe it's not digitized, okay? And the cool thing is you can find information in these books. So let's just try something here. I'm going to click on books and let's just see if there's any books written that might have John Lee Jones's name in it. So let's try this. This is just from the books that have been digitized. So John Lee Jones. Now let's see if anything shows up in the books. These are not microfilms, but books. Okay, here we go. Looks like we have something right here. There's a book right there, right? Now look at this. This is interesting. We have an entire little book about John Lee Jones. Now, guys, I'm kind of cheating here because I already knew that this book existed. But that's how you find a book that might have somebody's name in it. It's kind of interesting because what this is this biography is actually his diary. John Lee Jones had a pretty good diary, and it was never put in book form. And so my grandfather, whose name was Clint Davenport, he compiled it with the help of my aunt, whose name is Cleo Hall Gentry. And I've known about this book, but I didn't even know it was online. This is the first time that I knew it was somewhere online, but I didn't know that the Family History Center had it, or that the library even had it. And I didn't know that it was even on FamilySearch until today. So if we click on the pages down here, you can see his book. Mm-hmm. And you just kind of click through it, and you got pictures of photographs that you can put in memories. And there's probably a table of contents in here. In fact, I know there is somewhere. Most of these do have a table of contents somewhere, or maybe it didn't. I don't remember. Well, anyway, there's an index at the end. I'm not going to waste your time on this, but there's some really interesting photographs. But so you never know what you come across, right? So that's how you search for stuff in FamilySearch books. So again, I went to search, then down to books, and I just typed in the person's name. Now, if you happen to know that a book, if you happen to know who an author is, you could even put that in there, and that'll help you find a book. If I wanted to find, let's say, the history of Iron County, those are really important too, because family history is in these books often. History Iron County. Let's see if we find a book on the history of Iron County. Right there, there's one. Oh, I didn't say Utah, did I? That would have helped. Iron County, Utah. Yeah. So there's one right here. I'm actually familiar with some of these books already, but anyway, that's how you look for books. And so you don't have to go to the Family History Center to find all of the books. You could just look on FamilySearch, go to search, and then click on books. Okay. So let me go back here to the beginning again. Okay, so guys, I realize I went kind of fast on both of those. I've got one more thing to show you, but do you have any questions on how to find something in either the catalog or in books? Or any comments that might help the others? Okay. Yeah.
I use like a program called Snip, and I use that where I can go around and I can just take portions and put it into FamilySearch. But I don't know how to do what you did, just clicking on it and having it go over into FamilySearch. So how do you get, what do you look for that?
For which one?
When you put that page from the
Oh,
catalog and you put it straight into the actual person's memories, what is that program that you use to do that?
well, it's not a program. FamilySearch provides it. It's part of FamilySearch.
I didn't
So
know.
I could go through it and do it real quick for you if you want, and I'll just show you again. So it's not a program. So if I go to catalog and just type in Iron County again, Iron, let's see, we'll go Utah.
I know how to use the catalog. I just
But I got to get there in order to.
Oh, I see. Excuse me.
I've got to go there in order to attach it.
Oh, I see. Thank you.
Let me, I think I could do it pretty quick. So we'll go land and property, because it is important to attach it. So
yes, it is. And I do attach, but I use a different method. I didn't know there was something actually in FamilySearch itself.
Yeah, it really is nice to be able to use it, FamilySearch, because it will attach directly for you. When you're using another website, it's more involved. But anyway, here it is here. See, where was that? It was number E, or letter E. And I'm not going to attach the exact same one because we're running out of time, but let's suppose that we're on, let's say this one right here. Okay, I'm going to open it up, and you see where it says attach to family tree at the right.
Oh, look at that.
It doesn't require a separate program. Okay, you just click on this and you follow the steps. That's it.
Well, that is phenomenal.
Remember how I showed you how to do that before? You just follow the steps. Eventually, you'll select a person who you want to attach it to, and it usually looks up the last person that you searched. If it doesn't show up, you can put their ID in here, and it'll do the same thing. But that's how you do it.
Well, that's phenomenal. Thank you for taking
it's really handy. I use it all the time. Any other questions or comments or suggestions? Okay. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you, hopefully I could do this in 10 minutes. Okay. I'm trying to keep this at an hour. We could go longer if you want, but I'm going to try to keep you at an hour and not take up too much more of your time. But play around with these things. Okay. You're not going to hurt the program by doing it. Just click around this website to learn stuff. Now, the other really valuable thing that's going to help you besides the catalog is to learn how to use the research wiki. Okay. It's like an old encyclopedia in a way, right? Except it's handier and quicker. And let's say that we're trying to find information about, I don't know, John Lee Jones again, but we're kind of stuck and we don't know how to find maybe a birth, marriage, or death record. And we're not sure how to find it. Maybe it's not showing up on a search right away. So if you go to the research wiki, it will help you out and show you. So let me show you how easy this is, okay? So go to search, then research wiki. Okay, it's going to open up here. Being a little bit slow. You see the world here? I'm going to click on North America here. And we have to go down to United States. So click on United States. And let's say that we need to find you have an ancestor that's in Missouri. I'm going to pick on Missouri, okay? Because I have ancestors in Missouri. So I'm going to click on Missouri. And let's suppose that we're having a hard time finding records in Missouri and we don't know what to do. Well, first of all, if you go to the right-hand side here where it says beginning research, if you're a brand new person and you haven't done much in family history, this part here that says beginning research will give you some ideas, okay? So just watch this for a second. You could click on guided research. This is one option. And you could just kind of click down here and see how you could find a birth record, marriage, or death, and other things to get you started. And you can click on any of these and it'll take you to the records. Another one that I like is research strategies. If you click on that, what it does is, let's suppose you're trying to find a birth record and it'll say, well, try these first: birth, death, obituaries, church records, and then other useful records are over here. So you could click on those, let's say a birth, and it'll give you information on how to find birth records and links to the actual records. Let me show you another one here. The other one that I like using, I probably use this more than any of them, is the one that's called Record Finder right here, the third one. So this is kind of cool. So let's say you need a birth date and you don't know where to look. Birth records isn't the only place to get it, right? What if there isn't a birth record? So you could go to vital records, church records, cemeteries, or you could use these alternate ones here. Or what if you need to find a maiden name, right? You know how those can be a kind of a challenge, and it tells you to look in these records first or alternate records. So all three of these are helpful. Now, let's suppose that maybe you just want to find a record, like a birth record or a death record, and you're not sure how to find it, okay? Maybe it's not showing up on a search in FamilySearch. Maybe it's not even digitized. And so let me show you something that's easy. I'm going to see if I can find a death record, okay? I'm going to go over to where on the right-hand side where it says record types. Now, a death record is a vital record, right? I'm going to click on vital records. Let's see if this is going to help me find a death record of an ancestor of mine who lives in Missouri. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to tell you, what's reasonable as far as birth, death, and marriage records are concerned. Because in the United States, birth, marriage, and death records weren't even required until about the late 1800s. But the person that I'm thinking of was born in he died in the early 1900s, so it's possible. So let's just check this out. I'm going to scroll down here and see if I can find something about a death record in like 1917. Yeah, I'm just kind of making up these dates. Well, not really, but partly. Let's see what we can find. 1917. Now look at this. Between 1910 and 1969, it has listed here a link to Missouri State Archives and Missouri Death Certificate databases. But did you notice that this isn't even on FamilySearch and it's not in Ancestry? So I would just go ahead and click on it. Now watch this. I'm going to go ahead and click on this because this is the dates that I'm looking for a death record in 1917. Click on it. This is going to take me to a website that's in Missouri, right? This is the Missouri Digital Heritage from the Missouri State Archives. Now, is this going to help me? Look at this. Missouri death records or Missouri death certificates. And it looks like this state is kind enough to have to give you access to death certificates between 1910 and 1970. So I'm going to go ahead and put a name in here that I happen to know. And this person's name is Wilcox. Last name is Wilcox. First name is Lester. And let's just see what I can find. And I'm looking for hopefully a death certificate in 1917. I'm going to click on search. And this is just an example. I'm not saying that you have to be an expert in Missouri, but that's how you can find things from the from FamilySearch. Now, let's see. Something doesn't look right. Wilcox. What did I do wrong here? Oh, maybe I better put a date in here. Bear with me a second, guys. See, that's last name, right?
It looks like it needs the range. So maybe if you put 70.
Well, yeah, but I'm making it so broad that it ought to just come up. First, Lester. Oh, maybe I spelled it wrong.
Isn't that him right there?
No, it's the wrong one, but that's the idea. I'm going to take off his first name. It's interesting because I found it earlier. 1907. We'll put a range in there to 1917. Last name 19. Just going to give it to us. Oh, it has to be between 1910 because this database starts in 1910. See that up here?
Oh, wow.
There's a whole bunch of them, right? Probably more than I want. But anyway, you get the idea. I'm HIJKL. Oh, you got a second page here. Lester. I'm not sure why I'm not finding Lester in here. Oh, William. Maybe it's William Lester. Sorry, guys. I'm going from. Oh, it's Thomas. No wonder. Sorry, guys. Lester is his son. I'm going from memory here. My memory wasn't serving me right. It's Thomas. Good thing I took notes, right? Before I came to this webinar. Okay, so I'm going to click on, this is him. So this is my grandmother's grandfather. Click on here and look what we have. This is a death certificate, and we have his father's name and his mother's name, where they were born, and his name, Thomas Wilcox, right here. So we found it. Okay, so the reason why I went through all of that is it goes back to what? It goes back to using the research wiki, right? We started here, remember? So we went to Missouri. I clicked on vital records on the right. Remember that? And then here we got vital records. And I went down and I have a record somewhere that says that he may have died around 1917, but it wasn't a death record. So I look under deaths between these ranges, 1910 to 1969, and it took me to this site. So there's an example where you've got a death record that's not even in FamilySearch, but it's readily available on a different site, but FamilySearch helped me find it by going through the wiki.
Question.
Yeah.
Now, how do you, I know how I would copy it, but how do you copy it from an outside source that's not in FamilySearch?
Good. Let me show you how I would do that. Okay. I've got to find that record. Where did that thing go? Sorry, guys. I have a Zoom thing that gets in my way. Let me show you how I would do that. Okay. There's a couple of things that you could do. Okay. If I wanted to take a picture of this, I would do what you were saying earlier, and I would just take a picture of it. I'd probably make it a little bit bigger, and you could take a picture. But I actually prefer, sometimes I'll do a picture, and I will also create a source for it. And I'm going to show you how to do the source. You already know how to do the picture, right? And I'll show everybody else how to do if they want to take a picture of the picture. But we could do that. If you have Microsoft Office or your PC, I just type in that word snip for the snipping tool. That's what you were talking about, right?
Yes. Yeah.
You click on the snipping tool and you click on new and click on new again. Whoops, I didn't do that right. Sorry. Click on new, and you see how it kind of ghosted it out there? And you take your cursor and just go like this. That'll make a picture of it. and then you go up to file and then just save as, and you can save it on your computer and
Mhm.
then upload that to memories. That's probably what you did before, right?
That's what I do, yes.
Yeah, and that's okay. And it's good to have that in memories. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach that to FamilySearch. Okay.
Oh, I am so sorry. Oh, and right in the middle of this, I have to go. I have the sister missionaries here. They made an appointment
Oh,
at 8. So
okay.
I'm so sorry. Oh, dearie me, I'm sorry. I'd like to finish, but I have to go because they're at the door.
That's fine. But I would take that URL that's at the top, I copy and paste it and put it in the source. Okay. I realize she has to leave, but I'll show everybody else how to do that. And I'm just about out of time anyway. So,
And everybody, we are recording this, so if you need to come back later and just watch a portion of it that you like she's missing because the missionaries are here, or you just want to review something, we are recording it and we'll send the recording out to you in a day or two.
May I say something as you look
Yeah.
at the death record?
Yeah.
Okay, if you look where it says pulmonary tuberculosis and you see that number,
yeah.
do that number there, and I can't remember where I found this. I'll just have to see if I can find it and share it with everybody. That number, if you see it on a death certificate or whatever number, indicates what he died of.
You
And it
mean
will
the
bring that
23
pulmonary,
20
right?
The 23R or A or whatever that is.
Or the 218, I cannot remember, but I
Oh,
do know
okay.
that there's a way to find that. So you can't, if you can't read it, then you would be able to
Oh.
indicate what the cause of death was. I'll see if I cannot remember, pull that up and share it with everybody.
Well, that helps. Let me show everybody how to attach this really quickly. We're about 4 minutes over time, but since she asked, I wanted to show you real quick because it is important to attach this in FamilySearch, but it's not going to be as slick and easy as if it were in FamilySearch. So I'm just going to show you right here. So I'm going to take the URL and make a source out of it in FamilySearch. So let me see if I could find that. Okay, I'm going to go to the guy's name here. And I think I could do this in about a minute. So hang on for a minute. Wilcox, there he is, Thomas Boone Wilcox, my grandmother's grandfather. So I'm going to do this manually. Okay, click on sources, click on add source, new source, and I'm going to paste the URL, and this will take a person directly to his death certificate. Okay, I've got to go back here to get the information. So let me see, how am I going to do this? Let me think about this for a second. I'm going to use this as a title, Missouri Death Records, 1910 to 1970. And let's see, where is that? Here it is. Okay, so I'm going to go, let's say Thomas Wilcox in Missouri Death Records. See, 4 April 1917 in the date. Now, what about the citation? I want to create a citation, and maybe one of these other days I'll show you how to make citations, but I just need to do this real quickly because we're trying to finish up here. So we want to have that information under the citation. And this is going to be basically a Chicago style format. Don't worry about that. I just want to create this while I can. And let's see, this website is called Missouri Digital Archives, I believe. Oh, shoot, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry, I stopped sharing, didn't I? I didn't mean to do that. Okay. The reason why I keep minimizing this is because there's a menu bar at the top that keeps showing up from Zoom and I can't see my menu bar. So Missouri Digital Archives, just about done here. And then, so I'm going to say digital, let me see here, digital image at Missouri Digital Archives. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put that URL again because that's the standard. I know it seems kind of redundant, but that's what we're going to do. When I create this, I always want to put a date in here, an accessed date, because websites could go out of whack, 25 August 2021, and describe this record below. So Thomas Wilcox death record and parents showing. Reason to attach. Names, dates, and locations match other records. Since she asked, so we got a name. It does show a birth date on there and a death date on there. I'm not sure about burial. I have to look that up, but it looks like, let's see, what are we missing here? Oh, we're missing a standard date on this, it looks like. You have to click on that. Now it shows up the save, and there it is. If we click on this at the top, it takes us right to the source. Now watch, it's going to go right to Missouri Digital Archives, and that's it. So that's the quick and dirty way of attaching a record from an outside source. But the main thing is that I want you to know how to use the FamilySearch wiki, and it took us directly to this. Any questions?
No.
Okay.
Giving us a lot in our heads.
Yeah, it's a lot that's really quick. I realize that. So guys, if you want, at another time, I've recorded this, and if the recording worked, I'll send you a link. I'll send you a link in your email for the recording, and you can watch any of this over again. So any questions, guys?
No, thank you.
You bet. And I found that through the FamilySearch wiki right here, right underneath search. Okay. Patty, we need to wrap things up because I took him about 9 minutes overtime. Do you want to call on somebody to do a closing prayer?
Sorry, it was taking, didn't want to unmute. Sorry about that. I just thank you guys all for being here tonight. And if you have questions or concerns or things that you want to see us go over that will help you as you're meeting with people, please feel free to email us or send us a text. And we will be meeting again on the next time on the third Wednesday, which is actually September 15th. There are 5 Wednesdays in September, so it feels kind of weird, but it is the 15th.
So guys, we are going to try to meet on the third Wednesday every month. And I realized it didn't work the last 2 months. Last week we were on vacation, and the month beforehand we had so many meetings. I didn't want to overload you with meetings. So, but we're going to try to do this on the third Wednesday every month, unless we tell you otherwise.
Yeah. And oh, the other question I wanted to ask is if there was anybody who wasn't able to attend or watch the recording of the area training that was interested in that. Please also let us know that if you didn't get that, and we'll make sure to send that out again. It was a really good training.
One more thing before I forget, Patty, I almost forgot. If there's anyone in your ward that you believe could benefit from going through this training, I do it every month, they're welcome. So if you just want to share with them the link that I send you, they're welcome to come here. In fact, Pete Zook joined today. He's not a consultant, but he was interested in learning some of this stuff. So I sent him a link. So they're free to come to this. I want this to be mostly for the consultants, but if somebody else in your ward wants to learn more, we could do this like a regular class every month. And they're invited. Okay, go ahead, Patty.
All right. Okay. So if there aren't any last questions or anything, Kirsten, could I ask you to say the closing prayer for us?
Sure, I'll be happy to. Our dear Father in heaven, we are so grateful for the things that we have learned tonight and pray that thou will please help us to remember what we have learned so that we can use our knowledge to help others. We're thankful for our brother and sister later for the wonderful leaders that they are and for the time that they're willing to spend to teach us. Please help us to do thy will and to get people interested in their family history. We thank you for our blessings in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, guys.
Yep,
Appreciate your
thank
help.
you. You guys have a good night.
You
And we'll
too.
see you next month. Let us know if you need any help anywhere. You could text us or email us or anything if you need help.
Yay. Thank you.
Anyway,
Thank
see you
you.
guys next time. Bye.